Yo, what's up? My name is Chris number 2. This is Just Insane. We are half of the band Anti-Flag, and we are with you today to do a deep dive into the songs of lies they tell our children. We are on the fourth, holy shit, 4 already.
Blasting through them.
The fourth release from the album. It's called Modern Meta Medicine. It features our friend Jesse Leach of the band Killswitch Engage. The song topically and thematically or intentionally or whatever you want to call it, I think was a bit of a touchy subject for us.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, as a band, and it's interesting people's reaction to it too, because people went really hard in certain directions with it, and which we kind of foresaw that they might do, and I don't know if everybody gets the point or not, which is why it's kind of cool for us to talk about it.
Yeah, I think that I know that just in our internal discussions about the song lyrically when we came in, I mean, attacking healthcare as an industry or a pharmaceutical industry or anything that takes the human right that is healthcare and that is the ability for sick people to get better in a world of so much technology and so much wealth
and so much profit.
And so
from people being sick.
And that's what I mean. I mean, there shouldn't be a for-profit healthcare system in the world. I mean, we've evolved beyond the idea that we need to spend money to keep people healthy, to give people dignity and to live their lives. So I think that issue is not something that Anti-Flag has shied away from in the past. However, coming out of a hyper-divisive and hypersensitive world via the pandemic, or post-pandemic or current pandemic, whatever you want to call it, it became a bit of a there was a little bit of a dance and a little bit of
there was a lot of room for misinterpretation, a lot of room for people who just had these very dogmatic ideas about whether the vaccine was a good thing or a bad thing, whether masking is a good thing or a bad thing.
And truthfully, 2 things can be true. The companies that profit off of our poor health
or our vulnerability as people, people who don't have a defense against a virus and need a vaccine.
Yeah, the people that profit are evil, but also the technology that creates vaccines and creates a healthcare system that can
protect us from a global pandemic.
Yeah, that's incredible. And so these 2 things can be true, and I think that unfortunately a system that has allowed the vampire to enter the house, that has allowed corporations to have such a stranglehold on American political policy, it opens the door for that distrust from the conspiracy theorists, that distrust from a person who might look at the U.S. government and say, well, these folks haven't done a very good job of protecting me in the past. I think that the band specifically, though, wanted to make a distinction that these answers aren't always black and white. And that often you might have far more in common with the person who is skeptical of a vaccine or a conspiracy theorist or a tin hat wearer or whatever the fuck you want to call them than you do the politician who is limitlessly wealthy off of manipulating that vulnerability that we just talked about. And so I think that's a good segue into Jesse Leach, who's on the track, where I met Jesse doing his and Matt Stokes' podcast called Stoke the Fire. And the theme of the podcast is they just talk to people about what inspired them to create the thing that they create. I really kind of got along well with Jesse on that spiritual level because I think that he's looking at a lot of these things too, not from a political activist frame of mind, but through maybe a more holistic approach and a more like meditative approach. tribalism of 2022 America, and its void of empathy and humanity is the most concerning part of this moment.
I agree.
And unfortunately, you know, I don't think that the song or the album or the two fools before you on this video have the answer to that right off the top of our heads, but unfortunately what you have is this moment where people are trying to have their cake and eat it too. They're trying to make record profits in this very vulnerable moment when they should have abandoned that system and said, this is better for humanity, we're just going to do it. It does show how far we've fallen.
Yes. Do you want to talk about the music at all?
I think this might be the only riff that was like carried over from something else, and it was like kind of peak pandemic. I had recorded a small demo of the intro.
Yeah, and I remember you playing it for me.
Yeah.
We were sitting over there, and just like I was like, "Whoa, that fucking rips!" And so that is the intro. About it's cool because it really marries old and new anti-flag. Like really, if you go back and listen to "Kill the Rich," which is like really early anti-flag, like it sounds like that.
Sure.
It's all that you can eat. How will we pay with a commodity? We can never help ourselves. We want it all and nothing else. Market plan consume.
The song is challenging the idea that people who are sick have to go into debt for the betterment of their lives.
And that's what the song is about at its core.
Yeah,
and that's the whatever else you read into the song, that's the most important point.
And if you want to exist in a place that supersedes distrust of an economic superpower that is the healthcare system, you need to dismantle it.